Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 67 of the African Do podcast. Today, we're very privileged to have a good friend, Angela Gachui. We'll talk about many things. I've just learned yesterday that she wears multiple entrepreneurial hats. I knew her as a long-standing corporate executive, so it's quite interesting to listen. I'm looking forward to listening about the journey of that transition and where it's taking her. Angela, welcome to the African Do podcast.
Thank you. First,
You're
you have called
the
me Angela.
second.
You have called me Angela.
Yes. What
Can you just call me Angie? I feel like I'm in trouble and I'm in school. If you
No,
call me
no.
Angela.
I thought you'd say, I don't know, a boy or something. No,
Angie. That's
So
Angie.
Angie
Please,
is,
thank
is
you.
your comfort zone.
That's my comfort
Then we'll
zone.
go with Angie.
Yes, thank you.
You're the first sibling to come. Two siblings. Now, I had your sister earlier on, and this is the first time the podcast that we're having siblings, and we look forward to many more in this entrepreneurial family. So welcome.
Thank you.
So Angela, let's start with you as a professional, or let's start with you. We'd like to start with where you're coming from.
Okay.
So where did you grow up? And let's speak a bit about your career, your education and your career, and then we'll get into now the nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts. Yeah. So I was born in Nairobi, and then I grew up in France and in Ivory Coast.
How did you end up in those diverse?
We'll have to ask my parents, but my father was working for an oil company.
Yes.
And so he took all of us.
Okay.
So I think I was 4 when we moved to Paris. Did 2.5 years there. Then we moved to Ivory Coast in Abidjan. We were there for about 4 years, and then now came back when maybe I was around 11.
This time your dad is an expatriate.
This time my dad is an expatriate. Okay. My mom is also an expatriate, I guess, because she's tagging along, working for a number of UN bodies and the African Development Bank.
Okay.
So then we moved back here, which is a whole other adjustment. Went to a school that no longer exists in Limuru called Green Acres.
Yes.
It was a girls' school, probably famously known for its cross-country, which we didn't really like running. And then after that went to St. Mary's. Went to Canada for my undergrad, where I studied political science and sociology.
Okay.
Initially, I was going to study HR, which is important for the part of the conversation that is coming. So I ended up doing sociology and political science. Worked in Canada for a year for Mars, the chocolate people, who do many other things.
Yes.
And then came back home. When I came back home, I joined PwC, and then it continued.
Joined PwC to do what?
To work in their people and culture. It became people and culture. I think it was people and operations at the time, advisory services. So I was doing consulting at a very young age. I didn't know that I knew what consulting was, but we were working on multiple projects. Still in the HR space. And did that for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Then I went to join 7 Seas Technologies, still in HR.
This was now, 7 Seas was more on a HR ops role. It's not HR advisory.
It was not HR advisory.
Now you're running a HR department
which was culture shock number one, because we give such great advice.
Yes.
But I realized I'd never run a payroll.
Yes.
And guys are there on, where is the payroll? And the payroll system at the time was not as automated.
Yeah.
So we'd be there with my assistant printing, PDFing and printing pay slips. Something we had never done with all of this, very fancy exposure. And so did that HR ops. And did that until about 2010. And then I think I would call the first year a bit of a sabbatical, but that's also when I registered Triple Bottom Line.
Okay.
But it's very different now than it was then. Then I went to do my master's in New York. I did that in public administration and policy. Came back to work for Dalberg, which was an advisory firm. So I went back into the consulting space, but not in HR.
Yes.
I went back as a, international development consultant. And then did that just until before COVID. Then COVID, we just did whatever people did during COVID, which was primarily trying to figure out, did I want to do coaching? Did I want to do work in diversity, equity, and inclusion? Which became a very interesting opportunity out of almost nowhere.
Yeah.
And then have been doing that consistently since COVID.
Before you go there, maybe you're the right person to ask because of your experiences. I argue that the consultancy space, the development space,
Yeah.
could do with more of what you have done. And what I mean by that is, you see that brief discussion we had about PwC moving from advisory into ops. I feel that a lot of the advisory and the development space, are too academic, and very few have had the experience of working in or running a operation business. Even when, and it cuts across, it's not just HR advisory, it's also entrepreneurial funding. So we are stuck in a space where people are giving advice for things they've never done. And not that the advice is bad. I don't want to sound like I'm saying the advice is bad. I'm saying that the advice would be better if it was given from the context of having done. And many haven't. Yet they are giving advice. Is that a fair statement? And maybe comment a bit about that.
I concur 100%. It has its limitations, which I'm sure we'll explore later, because I firmly believe that in order for you to succeed in something, you should have had an opportunity to do that thing, which may feel like it's going to limit you to how many things can you do, right? But I remember just before I moved fully into consultancy in 2020, I was in a group of women who were discussing how to grow their careers. And we were talking about being a consultant. And I firmly believe that being a consultant requires you to be an expert in something, in the thing that you're talking about. And it's not to go, and now we could just literally go online, ChatGPT or Claude or something, and you can get like 10 points that make you sound like an expert.
Write a paper,
very, very easily. But there's something about the doing that allows you to anticipate the things that are not in the textbook. Right? So because you've had the experience, if somebody said, okay, come up with an HR ops workflow, you need to know what it actually takes. How long does it actually take to source for candidates? How long will it take you really to shortlist those candidates? What do you expect when people now start looking for reference checks? Have you ever done a reference check? No. But you can advise, as a consultant, I can advise that it's important to do reference checks. But have you really ever done a reference check? So I think it's critical. Where I think it becomes limiting, and probably why people don't want to do it, is because it's hard now for me to grow somebody else, to even hire somebody else who's like junior to me in my consulting firm, because they have never done. So they can't think like me, because how I think in my practice is because of what I have experienced. And so when I see a client, I'm just like, hey, I can tell you what's about to happen around the corner, because that's just what we know. And I will say specifically on this continent, and maybe I would just say in this country, but specifically on this continent, we don't operate in very clear parameters. And so you have to really know, maybe you've just gathered it from experience, what is around the corner? How do I figure out immigration? How do I figure out labor laws? When is it time to push or not to push? What are the things that I can say or I cannot say? And I think that that's an experience that most people who choose to go into consulting, because it's a natural thing to do when you're trying to figure out whether I want to stay in employment or if I want to be an entrepreneur. Consulting is the easiest thing to set up. You just say, hey, I have expertise in or interest in XYZ, and you set up a consultancy, but there's no real qualifier. There's no real qualification journey that you have to go through. And then you just say, Mudachi, by the way, I can help you with this thing. And people are like, yeah.
So me, I have a problem.
You have a problem?
I have a problem with in my space, my professional space, which is hospitality. I have a problem with the number of hospitality consultants.
There are many.
There are too many. And my argument is not that being consultants is bad, but my argument is we need more hospitality doers. We need more restaurant owners who are hospitality trained. We need more hotel owners. I actually believe that one of the challenges we have in the Kenyan market with our hospitality sector, and why we're not seeing an outward explosion of this immense potential that it has, is that most of our people, become consultants to people who now have the capital. And our problem is a different one from yours. Our problem is, if you want to become a hospitality entrepreneur,
you have to have
capital.
Yeah.
Because we chose careers that are capital intensive.
Yes.
If you want to open a great restaurant, you have to have the money to open the great restaurant. There's no voye, please. It's either you have the money or not. And so most people take, I believe, what is the less challenging. I don't want to say the easier. The less challenging is, let me consult for people. But I also see them, I meet them, and I find them very frustrated because they meet owners. When you give consultancy advice, the choice of whether that advice is taken or not is the owner's.
Neither here nor there.
The guy can look and say, sour, sounds very nice.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Have they paid you for it?
Even if they're paid, they can still decide. I hear you. But cheers.
I'll do something else.
I'll do it the way I know. And so I hope to see, but it's changing. So I hope in the future we'll see a lot more hospitality. But we digress.
We
come back?
We can come back.
Now you're at Dalberg. One would argue that you have seen, and enjoy the fruits of corporate being. You have a good title, a good salon. You have a master's. You have come back. You're in Dalberg. Good reputation. Good offices. Now, why come out and come to the Soko?
To the Soko. First of all, I wasn't even 100% sure that I was going to the Soko.
Yes.
And this is a question that I ask in my coaching practice, particularly when people are trying to do this sort of transition.
Yes.
Are you a coach? I mean, are you an entrepreneur? Or are you an employee? Okay. So me, I'm a bit of a one foot in, one foot out. So I even enjoyed a season when I had like a fractional role where I was an employee, but then also I had my consultancy. But the truth of the matter is, if you're going to build the consultancy, you have to be available.
True.
Particularly in my space. So why leave the velvet, I call them velvet handcuffs.
Yes.
They're just like this, and you're like, this is so nice. I think that when at the level that I was in at Dalberg for my age, not because I was very old, but because I was older than many people who are at that level, and that's a whole other conversation. I think you get to a sort of self-awareness sooner, okay? And I was in a role where I was consulting in actual international development. And then because my absolute love is making organizations be better for their people.
Yes.
Ensuring that leaders are more human for their people. So I moved into a management role in HR.
At Dalberg.
At Dalberg.
Yes.
I was the Africa Talent Manager. And at that level, and with that exposure, because now I was covering all the countries that we were in on the continent, there were some key questions I began to ask myself about the experience that our staff were having and what I was pitching. Because you're selling in when you do recruitment and you do talent management, you're basically pitching an internal brand, an employer brand. And there were some instances that felt a little bit off for me. Right, which I won't go into, but I confronted myself and I said, this one is absolutely up to you.
Yes,
because you can continue selling, Kool-Aid or whatever it is you want to call it, and it was still a phenomenal organization.
Yeah.
But there were a few things here and then I'm like, it's not looking like I will be as comfortable doing this for the long run. Okay. And so I started to be a little bit discontented. We tried to find an alternative sort of like role that I could play for a bit. So I did that in a consulting fashion. And then by December, I was just like, why have we been doing this for 6 months? When 6 months ago, I decided that I wanted to try something different. The good thing is I had done my coaching certification.
Okay.
And so I felt a little bit comfortable. I was like, this is what I really, really want to do. I like helping people unpack, unlock what it is that's holding them back. And I said, let me deal with that. Let me take a step back from a structure that is out of my control, because it's a much bigger structure than me, and do something that made me feel within my control.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would assume that on that foundation is when Triple Bottom Line Associates is born.
Yes. No, reborn.
Reborn.
Phoenix.
Oh,
like,
you
we
had
had registered
it was just
in
sitting there.
2011.
It was sitting
Sitting there. Then like, you come back 2020, you're like, hey, there was that thing.
That
You
thing.
start calling
A
lawyers.
dormant
Hi,
company. Is that company still there?
what do we need to do? Then you find somebody else had registered another version of Triple Bottom Line. You're like, but it wasn't Associates.
Yes.
So now it's just like, that's great.
Okay.
We can do this. So I revived Triple Bottom Line Associates.
Which sits as 3BL, right?
Which sits at 3BL. That's how I like to make reference to it.
Excellent.
I can talk about what Triple Bottom Line
so
is.
We're in it now. We have come. It's woken up. So tell us, when it wakes up, what is it?
So when it wakes up, it's a billing entity. Okay? That's all it is. It's
something to send the tax compliant invoice, okay?
Just the invoice. At the beginning, it was just the invoice.
Yes.
At the beginning, it was a billing entity.
Yes.
So Triple Bottom Line, the concept is about people, the planet, and profit.
Okay.
Some people talk about purpose, planet, and profit. All we were doing is people. That's really all we do.
Okay.
With an ambition and aspiration, which is going to take root this year.
When you say all we were doing is people, what does that mean from an advisory perspective? So what were you doing about people? So were you similar to your PwC days?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So tell us.
Because even when I was transitioning out of Dalberg, I had tried very hard to leave the nuts and bolts of HR. The HR community in this city, in this country, is expansive. And to me, there was some value add that I could provide that was different from your regular, what I call the employee life cycle, right? The employee life cycle is everything from recruitment to performance management, blah, blah, blah. And so I decided I was going to focus on coaching, and I was going to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. At the time, perfect time, because that was a time when the US had a DEI crisis, and a lot of NGOs who are operating here started thinking, if this is the fire that we're getting in the north, so how are we behaving to our counterparts here?
I'll challenge you and say, can you tell us kwa lugha ya mtaa?
Yes.
What diversity, equity, and inclusion? So that we get it. Those of us who are not of consultancy.
Absolutely. So, but I think we have really advanced people know DI. So in the basic, as simple as I can put it, diversity is first of all the appreciation that there is difference, and difference is good in an organization.
Excellent.
Okay? And it's as simple as our fingerprints are not the same. So irrespective of whether we are twins or not, we are different. And if you bring that different perspective, different thought, different skills, different capabilities, it's just a cooler place to work, and it can help us solve the problems we are trying to solve faster. Equity, not to be confused with equality.
I love
That's not
equity.
what you thought.
No,
that's
I love equity.
That's not what you thought I was going to say.
I'm a big champion of equity.
Equity understands that even if we were raised exactly the same, our starting points can be different.
Yes.
Because of various reasons.
Yes.
Education, physical ability, even marital status, what order are you in your family? And now you can, project that into society. So when people think about equality, they're like, if Mudachi has 100,000,
I want to.
Angie gets 100,000. But we are not taking into consideration all the things that might make either you or I be starting from a few steps back. So equity says we might have to give a little bit more so that we are on the same playing field, or as close to the same playing field as possible. That one is the most complicated one, because now we have to talk about, how do you feel about fairness? Is it fair that I gave you more? Maybe not, but is it fair that I was either historically or socially disadvantaged for whatever reason, and now we are supposed to be playing on the same field? Okay.
Have you seen the cartoon of the three guys watching the game?
Yeah,
I love it.
Absolutely.
It captures exactly what you're saying. Where this one it says this one is equality, this is equity.
Yes. And there's another addition to it where they're like, why is there even a fence? In fact, remove the fence.
So that they can all just
so
watch
that
the
people
game.
should just be able to watch the game, whether they are short, whether they are
Excellent.
tall, whether they're on a box or not.
Excellent.
Remove the fence,
Excellent.
right? Because
Yeah.
those are barriers to access.
Okay.
So equity is highly about access.
Yeah.
Inclusion, which also now got belonging kind of added and infused, is like, can you really just be you
In the organization?
Can you feel like whoever you are, the things you like, the things that make you uniquely you, are welcome in this space? That one is even more critical, but it's a much longer game because that's about mindset.
Okay.
I have to undo what has been normal for me. And remember, we really operate within groups of familiarity. So if you're sitting there and you're saying, let me just use one that is quite present in our conversation in the country now, people who live with disability. If you have never been exposed to a person who's living with disability, even with your eyes, you don't know what it means to not be able to access a staircase. Let's just say somebody with a physical disability who would struggle. How do you begin to think about making them feel comfortable in an organization? And it's not about tolerance. It's like, you deserve to be here. And my goal is to make you feel comfortable to do everything you need to do. Right? And so inclusion goes into mindset, it goes into culture, it goes into understanding one another and being able to confront the fact that maybe I don't actually like you because you're different from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're still doing this as a billing entity. Yeah?
I'm still doing this as a billing entity.
So how does it now, walk us through, how does this transition into the mainstay of 3BL?
So this is when I said we were doing the people thing,
Yes.
This is the people thing.
Okay.
Because now you go into an organization and you say, see all your people. We have to have a conversation about DEI. Let's say we take DEI. Either because your head office has said this is important, or because your board has understood it's important, or because you as a leader have decided this is important. But now, especially within our context here, we were invited to explore a concept that looks very different in North America than it looks here. Because here we're not talking about race as the first thing.
Yes.
We might be talking about tribe, we might be talking about gender, we're definitely talking now about people living with disabilities, but everything else was about race.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And also sexuality was the other one that was pretty big. So how do you confront those things? So for me, the work, and I think it was maybe what made it successful, ignore what everybody else is doing. Let's just talk about the fundamentals. And so we would literally talk about the fundamentals within each organization and say, what does DEI look like for you? And why is it important for your strategy? Which is now where the stuff we were doing at Dalberg and PwC comes in, because now I can talk strategy.
Yes.
So if you're going to try and fix, I don't know, water issues in this country, why would diversity matter to you?
Okay.
So then we explore that with the client.
Okay.
Right? So that's the people component. The coaching is also another people component.
Yes.
Because you now work with individuals or small teams to say, I have goals.
Because they feed into each other,
They feed into each other beautifully, especially after you've done DEI, then people are like, I need to have a conversation about how I can show up differently. And that's really a coaching journey, right? Now, I want to talk about what happened 2025.
Yes.
Yeah. There were some executive orders from a country up north, west, the big one, that affected a lot of DEI work, a lot of DEI funding. And even in the US, it became, almost illegal, to talk about it and to invest money in it. But if you do DEI well, and you double click, just because that's such a consultant thing to say, you double click on the word diversity or inclusion or equity, it really comes down to how people behave in the organization.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this now segues into what I do mostly now. How it translated is into looking at inclusive leadership, into team dynamics, into culture, into trust within organizations, because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
The reason I don't want to give you money, more money or an equal salary is because I don't think you're worth it. And we have to explore that. Where does that perspective come from? Okay. What is my responsibility as a leader? How do I move this organization forward? So for me, we just stopped labeling it DEI.
Yeah.
Because it's not really about the label. It's about what comes into inclusion, what comes under equity, what actually comes under diversity.
So let me pose a question that I will cloak in a challenge.
No, cloak it. Go
yes.
ahead.
And say that I see or I hear,
Yeah.
based on what you're saying,
Yeah.
that context forms a big part of what you do.
It's everything.
Yeah. So local context. And I
Yes.
think if I get you right,
Yeah.
the advantage of 3BL is that you're able to take these things which are conceptual from a global perspective, yeah, and you can apply them effectively with bringing in local nuance. Yeah. So that's the opening statement. However,
Yeah.
here's the challenge.
I'm ready.
Yeah. I feel that those tend to be very top-down things, in the sense that, like you said, most organizations, yeah, are told by head office, do this thing, because it has been discussed somewhere else in a room where people like us are few, or if they exist,
if they even there. Yeah.
So that tends to be the ones who come and do. Yeah. What, if any, is your experience of that in a local entity that has no head office, yeah, that is growing and thriving locally? Are you finding acceptance to that kind of thinking? Are there local companies that are stretching themselves to that level? And do you think it's important for them to do so? Is the challenge.
So I find that more and more local registered nationally run organizations are trying to figure out how to do this and whether this is what they need to focus on now.
Okay.
Because when you look at it, I don't want to go into Maslow's, but it's a bit of a Maslow's hierarchy of needs conversation.
Yeah.
Some of these conversations don't feel mission critical. Okay? So they're the kind of things that happen when you find there's some money for training and all of that.
Extra.
So you have to be able to allocate budget and time for this. So if you're in the process of just trying to figure out what is making the wheels turn and keeping the lights on, you might not have the same, what's the word? Drive to now start sprinkling DEI. I'm literally using the sprinkle deliberately. And I say don't start if you don't start doing DEI if you don't have the opportunity to commit to it. The beauty, however, is everybody knows that leadership matters. That team dynamics matter. That being able to get your guys to do what they need to do matters. So they are happy to do that. People are doing team retreats all over the place. And that's a lot. So then the question is, for those of us who are practitioners in the space, are you just doing a team building? Or are you infusing the right conversations around culture, team dynamics, leadership, and what they need to do? And are you ensuring that it's not only a top-down conversation, even top-down locally, right? But are you engaging with staff who, for the proverbial qua ground, are telling you the experience here is like this, because the leadership can tell you a very different experience about their culture. So in the work that I do, and I do some of this in association with other people, we always try and engage with more than just the leadership. So you want a session? No problem. I want to have 4 or 5 conversations with other individuals, managers, possibly somebody who's, not even in management, and say, talk to me about your culture. Talk to me about this event that we're having in August. What would be a good outcome? Then, now everything starts to come out, and then we consolidate that into an experience.
Okay. Interesting. I really like this conversation we're having, because there's something I've come to believe. And maybe, like I said at the beginning, this is our 67th episode.
Yeah.
So when you talk to all these entrepreneurs, you learn a lot about their businesses, and few of them have been in my line, but majority not. And then what I've come to learn is we have to sit in the space where we acknowledge that some of what we are saying has not been seen successfully where we are.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I provide for that as it's let me use an example of a business I've come to admire over time, which is Kwetu, doing student accommodation.
Yeah.
Conceptually, you can talk about student accommodation as much as you want, but there's a time it didn't exist in a standardized fashion
At all.
Students all over the country were staying somewhere. Yeah. And that's what they saw. And when you're pitching that as something that is interesting or that would be great, it's very hard to see it if you have not seen it.
Yes.
Now, I argue the same about some of the things like work that you do.
Yeah.
Is that you don't yet have companies that you can point to and tell people, oh, this is working great there. And this is how doing this thing is translating to commercial success because they did it.
Yeah.
So what tends to happen is in these early days, you'll be not flogging a dead horse, but you'll be paying a pioneering premium.
Yeah.
Is the right word.
Especially the bit about the commercial.
Connecting it to the commercials.
Because they can tell you, because a lot of our clients have done pulse checks, engagement surveys, and they see the numbers shifting, right? And so for sure they know that something is happening.
Yes.
At a minimum, people are happy to have conversations, they're engaging more, they're raising challenges more, they're putting up their hands to participate. You start to see return clients, you're called back for another session, and that's fine. But people think it's so hard to draw the line and make it attributable to your work in the people space to a commercial or a profitable shift, right? And that only happens after time.
Okay.
But I also think that we need to just agree that there are too many things going on in the ecosystem
Yes.
to be the one walking around with the chest and saying, by the way, that's 100% my work. It's not, right? Your appreciation for what school did you go to?
Me? Nairobi School.
Come on.
Yes.
So my appreciation for not hiring from Nairobi School.
Yes.
Now I'm willing to explore another school that I would never have thought about before.
Fair enough.
Could be the reason why I brought in a certain talent. That talent was amazing. And then all of a sudden my profits shifted. But maybe if we hadn't had a conversation about unconscious bias, you would never have been open to that.
Fair enough.
Right? But we were not able to draw the line directly. And I have reconciled with that. It's okay. I'm all right with it.
So now, let's speak a bit about something that you mentioned earlier, where you said that where we aligned and agreed that it helps to advise when you have achieved expertise.
Yes.
In that context, how does building an organization like 3BL beyond yourself look like?
Hey, Jesus. It looks like Jesus helping me. It's so hard. Let me tell you, it is so hard. It is the biggest challenge that I have had.
Yes.
Okay? Because I'm not being arrogant, but I cannot duplicate myself.
You cannot clone yourself.
I cannot clone myself.
Yeah.
But I will tell you something that I have seen work very well. And this is because, number one of my core values is abundance. Okay? Which means there's so much work for us to do. We do not have to do all of it by ourselves.
Fair enough.
And so the associates part of 3BL is the only way we can grow 3BL.
Okay.
I surround myself with other individuals who do either what I do or something slightly different to what I do, but complementary to what I do, so that we can together tackle larger projects, or even when I'm not available, they can do it. And so either we bill it under the 3BL umbrella, so that even if I'm outsourcing it to somebody else, but it's my client, or they come on board and we do it. That to me is probably one of the only ways. The other way, which could be, should be, might be, who knows, explored in a very short period of time, is to sort of package some of what is now, let's say, a little bit more business as usual, right? The vanilla implementation that could be available to those who don't have maybe the same amount of money or budget available for high cost facilitation, let's say. So if you do it in an e-learning format or, those pre-recorded videos, material, then it allows people to access that, and then 3BL can grow. But there's no ambition for 3BL to become a 100, 200, 300, even maybe 15-person organization.
Yeah.
Not under the people side.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And the other side that is being explored, it is possible.
Okay. So then what does looking for work look like?
For who?
For you, for 3BL. Because now you're not doing something like that's vanilla. You know,
it's not vanilla.
People don't wake up and say, hey, man, we need to call a diversity and inclusion expert to tell us one or two things.
So this is the biggest branding challenge that I'm facing. And you and I had a conversation earlier about like website and positioning and all of that. So we are in a journey right now to try and figure out.
Yeah.
Because what happens is people call Angie.
Yes.
You know that you heard Angie did an amazing job at facilitating X, or she's a great coach, or she's this, that, and the other. So you call Angie. So is the brand Angie or is the brand 3BL?
Okay.
Right? And this is literally the branding conundrum that we are in right now.
Yes.
From a people perspective, the people pillar of Triple Bottom Line. Because that's still very, very centered on me. Okay? And for now, I've chosen not to fight the reality. Yeah. I get a lot of referrals. Again, in partnership, there's a lot of work that flows through. And I think also being more intentional, even like this conversation, entrepreneurs, leaders need to have conversations with people like me to just be like, I'm really trying, but I'm finding it hard and I need to find a way to connect the dots. Right? And so every engagement is almost like a business development engagement. Yeah. And so I think the brand that gets pushed more is Angie, and Triple Bottom Line now comes to support. But Triple Bottom Line has the opportunity to expand into now, especially the planet side of things. That's around sustainability, around circular economy, which is some research that we're trying to do right now. Because that's what Triple Bottom Line actually means.
Yes.
Crack profit and people and be responsible for the environment. And so now this is what we are also going to explore.
I see some direct correlation with another friend who was in advisory and was a guest on this podcast. Very similar challenges in different lines.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe give you something that we've discussed with her at length.
Yes.
I think I think you sit in a very interesting space because of where we are as Africans. Yeah. And the fact that the world as we currently know it, yes, it's changing, has not listened to what we think or need to hear. And so for you who's in this advisory space, I think you're unique in the sense that, particularly if you have an appreciation for context and nuance, which you've shown that you do, I think you guys have a greater responsibility than most because you're the ones who are helping us build organizations where we see ourselves, which is very rare.
Yeah.
As crazy as it sounds, it's very rare in an African
100%.
Context. Very few people have insights that they have taken from their teams in an African context. You know, very few people build from that. Most of us cut and paste what we have read from, Draka, Potter, and other people out there.
And we make reference to them all the time.
Yes, yet they didn't have, a show who calls every end of the month and saying, Yani, Kijana, how are things, and so there's that lack of enough data, which I believe organization, but I think another challenge, I seem to be throwing you many challenges.
I'm okay. I can handle it.
I think another challenge for you is to also provide for the possibility that you will need to look and court the organizations who can achieve the greatness you see but can't yet see it. Yeah. I have a very good friend who's in private equity.
Yes.
And he's done a lot of deals in the local market. Yes. And I remember one time over lunch asking him, boss, you're doing deals in a market where people are saying there are no deals.
There are no deals.
And then he said something to me. He says, 3/4 of the deals I've done didn't know they needed to do the deal before they met me.
Yeah.
So I go and find an old man who's had built this phenomenal business.
And I tell them.
No, and I walk them through how doing a deal with me will be of value to them.
And then they buy it. They're like, I'm
some
sold.
do, some do, some don't.
Yeah.
But that's how I've done more deals.
And I'll tell you that I think the first door that opens that kind of opportunity, which I have seen, is the coaching door.
Okay.
Because I've had coaching clients who have come and they're just like, I don't know what to do because, I've transitioned into a more senior role. We've got a new board. We've just gotten some funding. And now who I was there and who I need to be here is not the same.
Yeah.
And through that coaching journey, because again, a lot of this stuff is very, very personal.
Yes.
They're like the only person you can talk to. And now it moves from just coaching individuals to now supporting their organizations, right? So you start doing work for the organization or for their peers, and the referral system works. I think what I really appreciate about what you've said, though, is about the intentionality of seeking out those people.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Provide resources for it.
Yeah.
In your strategy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll send you your fee note there later for the
Sasa,
advice.
I know you three sisters, yeah? And so it's very interesting. Before this, we recorded this podcast, I was thinking about you and I think about June, and I was like, maybe there's something there because your dad started out having this expert corporate life, yeah? And then later on in life became an entrepreneur, And I don't have any data to back this, just my knowledge of you.
Yeah.
I think that has rubbed off on you.
Yes.
Because as sisters, 2 out of 3 have gone first into corporate and then they have come out.
And technically 3 out of 3.
Okay.
Technically 3 out of 3.
Okay, so 3 out of 3. So let's maybe park 3BL associates.
Yes.
Now, me, to my surprise, I found out that not only are you doing this, but you have an biashara that you are working on with some people called Showrunners.
Correct.
So let's start with, what is Showrunners?
Showrunners, we run the show. We run the show.
What does that mean?
It means that we bridge the gap between clients and the talent, right? And the talent could be the camera guy. It could be the drone flyer.
This is in an event space.
It is in an event space.
Okay.
The show we are talking about is an event space.
Okay.
So effectively, it is a production management organization.
Okay.
And what we do, what we are really good at, which comes back to that thing you said about having done it before, is anticipating.
Yes.
We anticipate the thing that is going to mess up that event. And either that means mess up what the client expected, not deliver according to client expectations, because you didn't know how to brief. You didn't brief properly, not because of anything, just that you didn't know the technical terms for it.
Yes.
And vice versa with our talent, whether it is technical talent or the stage managers or even, the guy who's doing the lights, whoever it is.
Then?
We don't like calling ourselves event managers.
So what are you?
We are production managers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I would hire you when?
You would hire me preferably when you're thinking about having an event. Because when we come in later, we are now just running.
Yes,
then we start fighting about, how many cameras do you need?
So you're
or
like,
do you really need? Do you need 4 people backstage? I'm like, do you want the event to run?
You're like project managers.
We are like project managers for events.
So you would then, together with the person who's ideated that, you would then hire the event manager.
We could hire the event manager
if required.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
If required. I think we can do it too, but we wouldn't necessarily.
I think what I like about that is it now provides for the how events run has changed.
Yes.
And I remember being really frustrated a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that Larry Mado thing where he was complaining about the running of an event at KICC.
Yes.
Yeah. And that really saddened me because I know some really, really top event management talent in this market. And I hear you now coming in that space. And I'm like, why do we have this in a Kenyan context? Constant conflict with our talent.
Because at the wrong time is when you bring in the people who do what we do, number one. Number two, we underestimate the importance of all of this thing happening in the back. It doesn't just happen magically.
Okay.
You bring in talent or speakers or experts to come and do what they are great at doing.
Yes.
But they don't need to think about, is there battery inside this microphone?
But
They
could it
don't
also
need to,
be?
They don't need to think about which door am I going to be accessing through? Which staircase should I go up for a seamless event to happen? And now when you multiply that orders of magnitude, said event that did not go so well, it becomes even more complicated because you can't assume anything. So we take the assumption away from you.
Yeah.
And we help you anticipate it. So what happens is we end up running the show here in the background so that, number one, it is an amazing experience. It hits your expectations.
Excellent.
Number two, those who are attending have a great experience. Number three, if you allow us, you also have phenomenal documentation of your event, which is another thing that people don't do a great job of. Do you have a reel that talks about all the stuff that you have done? Do you have a digitally well-organized set of photos, videos, collateral that you can use, right? So that's what we do. And I think, just to talk about having done something before, both myself and my co-founder have done a lot of work in this space. Me, I've even been on the said stage. I spent a lot of time on the said stage. So I know the things as a person on the stage that like will really, really frustrate me. And so we anticipate that. She's done a lot of broadcast work as well. And we've done some events here of pretty large size. And so we just put it together.
I would argue that the other thing that is holding us back from fulfilling our full potential in that regard is, and this requires some industry-wide introspection, is we do have a lot of event firms that have emerged solely to collect a check.
Yes.
And are not invested in those outcomes that you're defining for us here.
Yes.
And they got this event.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a software issue there. Yeah. Because like now, for those of us who've been hoping and praying for a world-class MICE facility, we're all looking forward to Boomers opening.
Yes.
You know, that huge construction of Boomers.
And then?
But the question that gives me personally sleepless nights about Boomers is software.
Yeah.
Will they get the software right? Because it's one thing to put an edifice that's dedicated to MICE
and a whole
conference,
other thing to
and
run
a whole another thing to run seamless events.
Yeah.
In my restaurant life, there's a saying that I like to use because it captures what the market does not see in terms of how the sausage is made. And that saying is, very few people understand how much work goes into them having a seamless dining experience.
Even a good sausage.
Yeah. Or when you sit in a restaurant and everything works. You're met well, you're sat well, you know, you're served well, you have a friendly waiter, he recommends great stuff, which you enjoy. Very many people underestimate how much work has gone into that simplicity.
Yeah. And it's a great opportunity for us because we then, it's not maybe a great brand opportunity, but it's a great opportunity for our work because we can come alongside any event manager. We can come across any, camera, the tech provider, any build outfit, those who are doing the tenting and the screens and everything, because that's not what we do. We don't even want to own equipment. That's not what we do. But the feel of that event, I remember we went to support another organization's event, and we just walked around and we realized that the space had been used for the last 3 days at another conference. And there was a coffee station somewhere and milk had just been pouring. So you can imagine 3-day-old milk. And tomorrow you're having some very high-powered people. Our work is to walk and say, hey, do you know that this carpet right next to where you're going to be putting milk, head honcho. But the stage was set, the cameras were working, the screens are working. For us, we anticipate every single part of it. That's why we call ourselves Showrunners.
I love it because let me tell you what I love about it. I love that you're peddling intellect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we do. We
Yes.
peddle intellect.
Yes, you're peddling your intellect. You found a way
100%.
to sell your knowledge.
Yes.
And I think that's something that all Africans need to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think probably the biggest lesson that I'm learning, and the one that I would then offer to anybody in all the spaces that I operate,
Yes.
don't overthink this thing. You know how to do something because you have done it before.
Yes.
I mean, we've been performing for years. And so we know what good sounds like, right? We know what a rickety stage feels like.
Yeah.
So can we just fix it? Yes, we can fix it.
Yeah.
So can I package this thing that I know how to do almost instinctively?
Yes.
And this one it's a much easier one to train.
Yes.
But almost instinctively, you can just tell people, you know that an MC who's been working for 3 hours talking is gonna need some water.
Yeah.
So you just have some water on the side there for them.
Light snack,
It is insane what it does to their ability to get back on stage and do a good job.
Yes.
And so that's what we do. So we do it both behind the stage and we do it behind the camera.
Excellent.
And we do live streams. We do all kinds of things.
Excellent.
And it's great fun.
Now we have packaged these two things, but we have packaged them from how they evolved and how they are.
Yeah.
So maybe let's wrap up by speaking about where they are both going.
Where are they going?
3BL and Showrunners.
Yeah.
What does the future look like for them in this emerging African context?
So the first thing is that maybe the next time we speak, there will be more.
Yes.
Because I'm a firm believer in multiple streams of income and multiple streams of impact. Okay. It's even biblical. Ecclesiastes, it says it.
Yes.
You should have 7, maybe 8, because the world is nasty, basically, is what it says.
Yeah.
So if we just focus on 3BL, first of all, we are going to be exploring the planet component.
Okay.
Continue with the people for sure, but definitely exploring the planet. There's a lot of not only conversation around sustainability and climate, but I think even just an increased need for this. Not because we understand the mathematics behind it, but there's a lot of power and positioning and leadership perspectives that are needed to actually have sustainable organizations and therefore sustainable economies. Because who is having these conversations, who is at the tables, is the thing that will determine the decisions that are made. Okay, so there's an opportunity there that's a little bit more, let me just say, related to the circular economy space around food waste that we are exploring.
Yeah.
And so you will, for Triple Bottom Line, you will start to see a lot more around the environment and sustainability. And on the people side, I would say the more intentional and boldness, the intentionality and boldness of going out there. We've enjoyed being a little key sniper over here where people are like, who are those guys? We don't know about those guys. And now saying, no, actually, there's evidence that we do great work. We have fun doing the work and we walk alongside leaders and organizations and teams, and we're great at that. So I think you'll just hear more about us.
Yes.
And being a little bit more strategic as to who we are working with.
Okay.
Funnel approach.
Okay.
Yeah. For Showrunners, I think the best way to put it is we were in early stage exploration. We've really only been around for a year as Showrunners. Individually, we've been around for much longer. I think my co-founder calls it like 30 plus years of combined industry experience.
Yes.
What we really, really want is to have an expansion. The clients that we've been working with have been on one piece of work here and one piece of work there. And we want to become their permanent go-to people. You're thinking of having an event, don't even think without calling Showrunners, number one.
Yeah.
And so we have a number of partnerships that we're trying to lock in. And my plea, because I know you have people in the hospitality space and in the entertainment space that watch and listen to your podcast, please don't suffer. Please don't suffer. There's some things need to get done that we can do for you. Just call us. We'll even wear your t-shirts. Hatuna shida ya branding. We will just come and help you execute amazing events. And the year that we've been working has allowed us to be maybe a little bit more courageous in the spaces that we want to go to.
Nice.
Yeah. We probably are not ready or even willing to touch, very high level public, let me just call them public sector kind of events,
Yes.
because there we'll have a fight about the wrong things.
Yes.
Yeah. We want people who actually committed to having great events. Allow us to partner with you to do that. So you'll be seeing a lot more of showrunners. Even our socials are going to be a little bit more lit than they were before. You don't have to suffer. We are here to help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We're drawing to the end, but I'm feeling like the conversation has just it's like we have entered. So maybe because I value your opinion in this, maybe let's speak about you see, you have the privilege of seeing the continent from unique perspectives, because one of your business is advisory. That means you work with multiple partners.
Yeah.
And the other one is creating experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. Which then gives you a chance to curate multiple experiences for different customers or different clients. So in your perspective, and then of course you have the hat that you constantly wear, in the sense that you're born, raised here, and you grew up here, and you live here, you entertain here, you raise your family here, and so on. So maybe let's speak a bit about where are we. Yeah, this I think I feel that Africa is in a place where we're asking ourselves a lot of questions, which is very healthy.
Yeah.
But I would be keen to hear from you, where in your opinion are we?
Yeah.
And what is the magnitude of our opportunity in that context?
So it's very interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. And let me just bring it to like a human level before we go continentally. If I was to pick a tagline for my life and my work, it is unlocking pathways to abundance. Okay? That's it. That's what I do in coaching. That's what I do in facilitation. I'm like, there's something that's blocking you from entering your abundance.
Yes.
And we need to unlock it.
Yes.
And if we all thought about doing our part to unlock just one door, even if it's for somebody else, then now they begin to express their level of abundance. I'm never going to be an electrical engineer, for example. But if I can help an electrical engineer unlock what electrical engineering can be on a larger scale, then he or she just become much more expansive. And then they continue and it continues, right? So one of the things that I believe firmly about the continent, and it is spiritual, is that there's something almost like there's a cover. It's a bit of a mesh, because you think it's open. You can't quite see that there's a cover, but there's actually something that blocks our own individual perspectives about who we are, down to identity, about what we are capable of doing, and where we must be. So we play a lot more upper chini than we should. And we've allowed the branding of maybe some individuals who are louder and more prominent in local and global spaces to spill over to us, right? And now people say, as Africans, you have not yet reached your indisciplined, your perspective on excellence, or do you think strategically? But maybe if we went to the north and we saw the number of Africans who somehow are thriving, it really makes me wonder, what is it about this land mass over here that is preventing us from doing exactly what we might be doing elsewhere, right? And so for me, it really just comes down to, as an individual, do you understand who you are? Do you understand that you are literally created and empowered? Even in those hardship moments, they were empowering you for the place where you're supposed to be doing more than you're doing right now. And number 3, are you ready to do what it takes to blow off the lid? And the blow off the lid thing, sometimes I think is cultural. Sometimes I think it's societal. We have glorified humble postures, right? We frown at what we now think is opulence or just slow down. We frown at that, but that's what it's going to take to solve these problems, because everybody else is seeing something here And it's not an emerging thing. No, we have been the place for a very, very long time.
Agreed.
But what we don't do well enough is we don't introspect. And then we don't take that bold step.
Yeah.
And finally, we also don't like working together. We like to replicate what the next person is doing. On the market, tomato.
Yeah,
Maybe one of you should
paste.
make tomato sauce.
Yes.
Right? Sauce the tomatoes, the onions, and the spices.
Or sun-dried tomatoes.
Just sun-dry them.
Yes,
In fact, you dry them. Buy from me, I dry them. We move on like that. So if we could learn how to work in partnership, just do your bit and allow it to work together to expand. There are too many communities that have shown us proof of concept of that. For whatever reason, we are the last to jump onto that ship. And so I think that's what's holding not only Kenya back, but I think as a whole, as a continent.
Okay.
If we just popped that lid,
Okay.
we would be in a great place.
Excellent. Angela.
Yes,
So,
Leonard.
Ebu, watch I give you a chance to tell the people where they can find you with your multiple hats, of 3BL. Where can they find you, 3BL, if a corporate executive or an entrepreneur is so inspired to seek you out? Where can they find you? And also on the showrunner side, where can the people who run events or are thinking of curating events, where can they find you and speak to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can find us at info@3 blafrica.com if you're looking for anything to do with coaching, facilitation, leadership. That's where you'll find us. And for showrunners, you can find us on our social media page. We're on Instagram _showrunners_. That's where you'll find us. And I really look forward to hearing from you.
Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 67 of the African Do podcast. We appreciate you greatly for sparing the time to listen to us. You can find us on our YouTube page and follow us on TikTok and Instagram and see short clips, which we hope inspire you to go and listen to the long clips. Spare the time, particularly the youth who sometimes don't want to consume long form content. But if you get so inspired by the short form, go and listen to the whole podcast. That 1 hour won't kill you. It might just add great value to your life. So thank you very much for supporting the African Do podcast, and we look forward to having you in the next episode. Asante sana.